Within a matter of 30 minutes, after LiAuto revealed their new electric car, the i8, their stock plummeted by nearly 14%. I think this EV is actually really good, and I don't really understand why investors just started dumping the stock after it was revealed. I mean, I actually think it's one of the best EVs we've ever seen. I know that sounds wild, but hear me out, and here are the details. It starts at $44,800 US. It's not cheap, but it's not small, and it's got a lot of range. It's actually really, really good. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. LiAuto, they launched the i8 electric SUV officially today with a starting price of 321,800 yuan RMB. That's 44,830 US. Let's just call it 45,000 US. It has standard dual chamber air suspension, 536 horsepower, 720 kilometers of CLTC range. And this is a big vehicle. I mean, it's literally about 5 meters long. The LiAuto i8, it was actually first revealed in China in February, and the price was estimated to be between 49,000 to 56,000. So it's coming to the market about 4,000 cheaper than what was expected. And investors are like, nah, not good enough. I'm kind of baffled by this. I don't know what's going on here. Now, it looks a bit like an MPV, yeah? I mean, technically, I guess you could call it an MPV if you wanted to. It's meant to be, they say it's an SUV, but I reckon that the style of this car, right, the slanted bonnet, the headlights integrated into the front bumper, LED strip under the windshield, all the sloped A-pillars and the LiDAR sensor on the roof, it all does look a little bit MPV-ish, but that's why this thing is so practical. This is extremely aerodynamic in a wind tunnel. You've got a very, very small bonnet, so most of the space of the car is actually usable interior space. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it looks weird. You know, the rear end of the LiAuto i8 is a little bit like the, well, I don't know, it's a little bit like LiAuto's other vehicle, which they call the coffin car, their other EV. But I mean, honestly, I think this looks much, much better. And whilst it does merge the design out of MPV, it does have some of the practicality of an off-roader, sort of, with that air suspension being able to, you know, lift the car up a bit higher if you wanted to go through a small stream or drive on gravelly, rocky roads. I think it would actually probably work okay. Apparently, the car can drive up a 31-degree slope. 31 degrees, that's really steep. I think the steepest I've ever ridden my bicycle up is about 23 degrees. 31 degrees is just like crazy steep. So it does appear to actually have some proper off-road ability. Sizes, okay, it's 5.1 meters long, or 5,085 millimeters, and it's 1,960 millimeters wide. What is that in metric? That is, well, exactly 200 inches. Not quite, actually, 200.2 inches. So it's about the same size as slightly bigger than a Tesla Model X. In terms of width, it's 77.2 inches wide. It's a big car. So I think for 44,000 US, considering what you're getting standard here, it's actually a pretty good price. The i8's drag coefficient is 0.218, which sounds amazing, but I actually, in this case, would believe it because LiAuto are one of those companies that have actually really done a lot of proper wind tunnel work. And for them, the style of the car is kind of dictated on aerodynamics, and that's why it's a bit of a strange looking car. The aerodynamics of the Model X, to give you some sort of comparison, is 0.24. So it's actually a pretty big difference, but aerodynamics of the Tesla Model Y is similar to this at 220. So the lower CD number does work out to meaning you're going to use less electricity, it's going to be more efficient, but also possibly quieter as well. You're not going to get as much wind noise coming into the cabin. The i8's chassis has dual chamber air suspension that can be adjusted by 85 millimeters. That's a fair bit of it's quite a lot, I think. I mean, that's like, what, 4 inches. Ground clearance is 195 millimeters, and it also has a continuous damping system, which sounds like magnetic dampers. It's got a double wishbone independent suspension in the front axle and 5-link independent suspension in the rear. aluminium suspension arms, and hydraulic bushings. Now, apparently its torsional rigidity is crazy, 49,500 Newton meters, which is, yeah, a huge amount. And the body in white is covered by acoustic materials, well, 95% of it, in order to reduce wind noise. The powertrain, I mean, that's the part that most people are probably interested in. It's dual motor, four-wheel drive, and the electric motors have actually been developed in-house by LiAuto. They use silicon carbide power modules, and according to LiAuto, these modules reduce noise while driving by 3.5 decibels. The electric motor's noise level reaches 30 decibels, which is lower than the working noise of a refrigerator. And they're also very, very efficient. Power output, it puts out 400 kilowatt, that's 536 horsepower. And apparently, the front motor puts out 150 kilowatt, 201 horsepower, the rear motor 250 kilowatt and 335 horsepower. Combined, 660 newton meters. And you're also going to see a top speed of about 180 kilometers an hour. Not particularly fast, to be honest, for a top speed. 0 to 100, though, is pretty quick for a car this size, 4.5 seconds. Apparently, even if the battery is discharged down to 20%, it'll still do 0 to 100 in 5 seconds. That's really good. Energy consumption is between 14.6 to 14.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, depending on which battery you get. Now, speaking of which battery you get, there's entry level comes with a 90.1, so basically a 90 kilowatt hour ternary NMC battery, not a lithium iron phosphate battery, giving 670 kilometers of range. The most expensive model, the top trim, it uses a 98 kilowatt hour NMC battery pack, providing 720 kilometers of range. So an additional 50 kilometers of range from a battery pack that is 7.7 kilowatt hours bigger. The batteries can support 5C charging. So the charging speed is approximately 500 kilowatt, and it's got an 800 volt high voltage platform. Apparently, that means you can add 500 kilometers of range in 10 minutes. A similar charging speed to all the new XPeng vehicles, the G6, the G7, and the P7 and the P7 Plus. LiAuto currently apparently have 3,000 charging stations and actually 16,000 individual chargers in China, which is massive. In real-world testing, apparently it can do 668 kilometers in urban driving, and at 120 kilometers an hour on the freeway, it can do 417 kilometers in the real world. At 120 kilometers an hour on the freeway. That's actually very, very good. The Tesla Model Y range, to give you some comparison, is 407 kilometers on the freeway at 120 kilometers an hour. It says can't use China. So what's the pricing? Price is $45,000 for that 90.1 kilowatt hour battery option. And apparently it comes standard with 20 speakers, first row and second row, all seats get massage functions. If you pay a bit more, you pay an extra few $1,000, $48,730. You get that bigger battery, the 97.8 kilowatt hour battery, and you get AD Max ADAS system, so better ADAS. The top trim, Li i8, gets, that's called the Ultra. It gets 22 speakers, a 21.4-inch ceiling-mounted display for people in the back to watch movies, and that costs $51,500. Currently, there is a temporary discount of $1,400. I think it's like a pre-order discount, and deliveries apparently start on the 20th of August. Car News China says that LiAuto has delivered nearly 1.4 million cars to clients 10 years after its launch, and it's one of a small number of automakers in the world that don't make purely internal combustion cars and make a profit. So LiAuto has been making a profit for the last few quarters, which is a really good success for them. I really like this car. I think it's priced well. Like I said, I don't think the stock should have gone down as a result of this reveal. Not sure what people were expecting, but I'd be happy to own one of these cars. And I'm hoping that LiAuto, come to other markets, come to Australia, they come to other countries, come to Thailand, because they make very, very good cars. There's no question about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching.